Welcome to Rebel Speak and Be Encouraged. Today I'm looking at the end of chapter 24 in Joshua, and I have been led to this before, but I really feel led to it today. And there you have it. So it's when Joshua is just recalling he's about to die. It's his last speech. It's the last chapter of the book of Joshua, and he's talking about God's faithfulness and how God has been so very faithful. And when the Israelites they wander around and then they start coming up, they come up and there's kind of the top of the Red Sea, and then there's just this kind of bodies of water there. And there's the land of the Midianites and Moabites. And then they come up and over. And I'm trying to think of those other, there's I think Ammonites, there's just different tribes up there. The Midianites I know are pretty far south, and the Moabites and the Midianites combine, and they really are asking just permission. If you think of the Jordan River, the land that God's promised them is to the west of the Jordan River, and they're on the east side, but the kings there attack them, and every time they get attacked they are kind of given more land, so that when they actually do cross the Jordan to go take the land in Jericho first, there's eastern tribes. There's, I think 2.5, I could have that, could be 1.5, but there's tribes that have been given the land on the east that the people inherited because they were attacked. It wasn't God's original plan. That they just request kind of a right to walk through it, but the people attacked them. And so I think the Amorites are the first. They get attacked and they get crushed. And so the king of Moab, his name is Balaam. There's a Balak and a Balaam in this story, so the king is Balak. Okay, B-A-L-A-K. He's the king of Moab. And he is afraid, but and so he's going to ask this man. So kind of, if you think of a map, I don't know, I think it helps to know a little bit of the map, right? So at the end of the Mediterranean Sea is the land that God's promised them, and then way over here is you can see, school teacher me, is the two Tigris and Euphrates, okay, and the land of Mesopotamia, and this man that the king Balak, of Moab is going to ask this man Balaam, who's known that what he blesses is blessed, and what he curses, they're destroyed. Anytime he curses a nation, it's destroyed. So Balaam's going to offer a lot of money. King Balak is going to offer this kind of prophetic person that knows the voice of God, Balaam, money. And I'm just going to read this. Finally, I brought you into the land of the Amorites on the east side of the Jordan. They fought against you, but I gave you victory over them, and you took possession of their land. Okay, so you were attacked in this place that should have left you alone. You were attacked there, but you gained possession of that land. Their act of attacking you gave you possession. Then Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, started a war against Israel. He asked Balaam, son of Beor, so he sends emissaries both from the Midianites and Moab. He sends these people out to ask for help to this man, Balaam. Balaam's like, well, you have to sleep here. I have to ask God. Let me find out what God's thinking. And then God's like, don't. The people that he wants you to curse. He says he wants them to curse them because they're so numerous that if they can get dwindled, then he can really have a fair shot. But as it stands, there's too many. They're going to take over the world. And then Balaam sleeps on it, and God says, don't. The people he wants you to curse are people I intend on blessing. They live within my blessing. And then, so the people with all their financial wooing go back, and then he sends out even more important people. There's something about this dignitary people posturing as if they're important, and more money. And then Balaam waits on the Lord, asks God, and then God says, you can, but do exactly what I say. But there's this tension in the text I like tension in text, scripture. I think it's worth thinking about, and I don't know, there's a way that he doesn't quite fully stand Balaam. And then that's when, any of us that know scripture kind of know the story of when the donkey finally talks, because God's going to kill this man for moving forward. And you can read it a variety of ways. Maybe God really wants to get his attention and say, look, it's super important you bless my people. There's different ways, but scripture calls Balaam a wicked man. Scripture in the New Testament, he's mentioned in Revelations, he's mentioned, I think, in Peter. He's there as someone who was bought in a way he ought not to have been bought. But here's the part. Then Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, started a war against Israel. He asked Balaam, son of Beor, to curse you, but I would not listen to him. Instead, I made Balaam bless you. And so I rescued you from Balak. So I rescued you. And the thing is that 3 times, I'm going to get these names mixed up, I can tell you. Balak, the king of Moab, asked Balaam 3 times. And he puts him in these different geographical places, trying to get a different angle. And each time, Balaam blesses the people of Israel. And what I feel and what I just want to say in my be encouraged moment today, okay, that God is faithful to you, even in the face of liars, okay? So the initial thing that the king of Moab says, King Balak says to Balaam, the man that he wants to come and curse them, is that they're so numerous they'll destroy us, there'll like be no grass left. He speaks he's a liar. And when liars in power, when people in power lie, it can be very discouraging because they have right, all the microphones, they have all the authority. It's hard to stand up to them. So he's a liar, and he uses his finances. He's using his money and the abundance of money. He's also using prestige. Okay, he's a liar using money and prestige. The second time he sends more important people. So you have this kind of important people that are posturing unto the destruction of Israel. And what I felt today is that you may be, just make sure I've got everything I wrote there. You may be in a position with people that have more power. They're liars. They're using their standing and their money and the people they know. They're capable of bringing in more important people. They're using bigger voices, okay? And it feels like, whoa, we're at such a deep disadvantage. But God's reminding, and Joshua's reminding the people that part of their legacy is that in a situation where they were in great disadvantage, and it felt like the situation was fully capable of cursing them, of crushing them, of keeping them from getting to their promised land, of isolating them in a way that would have had them be crushed. God forced Balaam to bless them. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. They were blessed. That God was able to override the crooked power of the king of Moab. God was able to override his crooked lies, his crooked wealth, and his crooked associations or posturing, authority, right? Like there's a lot of authority. It says even more important. He sent even more important dignitaries, even more important officials. This thing where there just seems like this, what's against you has so much power in so many ways. And it's able to use people with its money. It feels like it's able to use people with its money for a crooked advantage. And what I want to say to you is that every place where it's trying to posture, things are working against you in a way that feels like it's crushing and obviously unfair. You're just wanting to pass through. You're just trying to get through. I'm just trying to get through this. I'm trying to find a way through this. And the powers that be are trying to crush you. You're just asking, I just want to get through this. I'm just trying to find a way through this. And the powers that be are trying to crush you. And what I want to speak from this beautiful story at the end of the book of Joshua is that every way the powers that be are trying to crush you, trying to make you smaller so they can fully diminish you. Okay, that's what he says. We just wanted to bring them down. If you curse them, then I can kill them off. That's it. You curse them, Balaam, I can kill them off. Things are trying to curse you. They're making the journey too difficult. They are, the enemy's trying to discourage voices and just bringing enemies into your storyline that you don't even need, into your journey that you don't need. And the thing I'm going to tell you right now is every place that money and finances are trying to cripple you with a curse, God's going to bless you. That's the story there. That which was meant to harm and diminish, bring them down into a defeatable size, because he knew what they had done to the last king that challenged them. So he's not willing to challenge them honestly. He's not playing honestly. That's another way of reading it. He knows he knows that the Amorites, when they stood up, it wasn't good. So now he wants to unfairly diminish them, unfairly disempower them, right? This King Balak wants to unfairly undermine the people in such a way that he can finish them off. And I want to say to you, if you're in situations and circumstances that just feel even a little frightening, like the powers that be are playing so unfairly. They're coming against you. They're coming at you in ways that, like it's, I don't know, like just seeing like an uneven playing field, right? Well, what happens in an uneven you trip and you fall down. It's no fun. And I just want to say, anywhere that you're discouraged, remember the story of the children of Israel as they were preparing for the fight that God had promised them. This is just preparation. You're not even in the land you want to be in. You can't even get to where you're trying to go, because these powers that be are taking you on. They're going to bless you. It's going to serve you well. It's going to come as a blessing. And I just want to, God's going to dispose of your enemies. They're going to serve you. Okay? Things that are trying to give you a crushing blow. What's a crushing blow? It's a final blow that takes you down. Things that are trying to make it impossible for you to proceed into the things that God's called you. Their plans are going to so backfire. You're going to be blessed. You're going to be blessed. You're going to be blessed. And the New Testament has this beautiful, it says, blessed are you when people persecute you and malign you, speak bad about you. You know, there's a term I'm wanting. When someone puts you in a really negative light and it's not true and everyone believes it, and it's all of a sudden like there's dispersion, casts a shadow of dispersion. When you disperse something, it spreads out. So a shadow of dispersion, that all of a sudden people are reading you in a really negative, belittling way, and everyone's agreeing. There's been this conclusion agreed upon about you that has you a bad person, and it's not true. It's the enemy just trying to diminish you in such a way that then thinking I can take them out. And I want to say no, where there's been a shadow of dispersion cast upon you. That's a lot to say, but I'm really feeling that. Where people have maligned you, spoken dishonestly, trying to curse you. And it's there in that situation, in that circumstance, from that perspective, because when Balaam comes and he blesses them, he's standing and he's looking down upon the encampment, and it's from different angles. And that's what I'm seeing right now too. Like, no, there's these things that are coming at you, casting a shadow of dispersion, okay? Making people look at you, not trust you. Oh, have you heard about so-and-so? Yeah, like, you know, just whispering little lies that have you in this disadvantage. And you can feel it, like, whoa, I'm at your disadvantage. You've been lying about me. Things in different aspects of power. But it's like, no, it's actually from those different vantage. Like a vantage point is how I look down upon the land. These different vantage points, okay? You're going to be blessed from this angle, and you're going to be blessed from this angle, and you're going to be blessed from this angle. It's the nature of the God that you've given your life to. It's the nature of God's love for you. God tells at the beginning to this Balaam, no, these are people I love, and my blessings with them. So the blessing of God overrides that dispersion that your enemy is speaking against you. It overrides ways that mean power are trying to get you at their mercy. They're like, ooh, I can get you. Oh, I know how to talk about you. I know how to cast a bad shadow. I really feel that. Like, I know, I know how to be subtle. I know how to get people to doubt your integrity financially. I know how to do that. And you can feel it, like, whoa. And this Balaam had a real strong track record. He was an effective. That's why Balak, the king of Moab, goes to him. He has a track record. You're up against some people that are effective at what they do. They're effective they have power. They have authority. But here's the thing. They don't have power and authority above God. And God's blessing is greater than their curse. And God's going to force their curses to bless you, because God's intention is that you be blessed. And that intention that you be blessed is going to override everything that's trying to work against you. And that's my be encouraged today. God's intention to bless you is going to override everything that is claiming authority and power to scandalize you and diminish you and diminish your worth. No, God's blessing will override and force those actions to bless you, because it's what God does. Be encouraged. Be blessed.